Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derbies, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this edition of the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast. Episode number 322 is on deck tonight. We've got a ton of stuff to get to. Excited to have you all along for the ride. I'm happy to say that we have now updated all of our MP3 stuff. So anybody that was looking for episodes from when we did come back to the studio from back in June and couldn't find any of the MP3s, they're all up there now. We got everything logged in, straightened out, so that'll be out there for you. This episode will be up immediately afterwards for the MP3 downloads of the folks that follow along on like iTunes and things like that, so that's cool. If any of you do happen to tune in on Thursday nights or look for any of the Final Round podcast stuff, you can guess what I'm going to be doing Thursday. Now that we got that all straightened out. So it was a busy weekend, man. It's Chad Dunlap says we're a little bit early to be live. Hopefully, it says it's not even playing the video, but hey, what are you going to do? It seems like forever since it was Friday. I mean, it was a four-day weekend, so to say, but so much has happened here over the last little bit. Right, first and foremost, thoughts out to James Brown and Jerry Brown and everybody over there at Barn Boys, Teresa, and Nikki and everybody. Jerry and his girlfriend Bridget both were in an awful car crash. They were pulling into a driveway on a motorcycle, and the car behind them thought that the signal was for the car to go around them and struck them both. They're in the hospital now. If anybody wants to drop cards or well wishes off, send them, direct them, mail them, drop them off in person to Water Street Cafe. James has been going up there to see him. I traded some messages quick with Teresa last night. Obviously, a lot on their plates, and things are overwhelming with all the well wishes and support. Jerry's got a very long road in front of him, but he's a scrappy guy. I've known him for a while. I got to know him through RC Derbies and through James. And if anybody is up for a fight, he's it, man. So I'm very confident he'll be able to pull through, and we certainly wish him the best. My boy Alan, he had his birthday last week. He turned 11. He's getting ready to start 6th grade tomorrow. I can't believe that. And then my cousin Nick and Ashleen, they had Josie back in December, and he proposed last night, and Ashleen accepted, so that was fun news there. So it's been a very busy couple days over the course of our Labor Day weekend, but nonetheless, here we are. I was really surprised when I got here and realized that everything at Finger Lakes was closed, the doors were locked, nothing was set up, but all the same, we're here.
Yeah, my last day of work was yesterday. I worked. And I was in Central, so I had the county scanner going, and I heard the call for the motorcycle accident. And unfortunately, working in Central, you hear about accidents and stuff like that a lot. And I've heard some pretty bad things out of that Central Control. But you just kind of expected another accident. And then I got home and saw James's post, and it definitely sounds like they're both in for a fight. But hopefully we can get some Derby family to support and offer well wishes and prayers, and everything turns out.
Yep.
You mentioned Alan going into 6th grade. I guess technically my son starts his senior year tomorrow.
Right.
Him and Nick. Nick's going to be going into 8th, so they're tomorrow and Wednesday they do the remote learning, and then Thursday they actually get up and go to school. So be weird for them. They haven't been in school since March.
Yep.
It'll be weird. The first time that I'm because with my rotating schedule, I have days off during the week, so it'll be weird when I'm home and everybody's at work or school and just me and the dogs. That hasn't happened in forever. So, busy weekend, lots of derbies on tap. So, I guess we got to get on.
Well, we're going to jump right into it. Make sure I have a gigantic file saved here to make sure that we got everything straightened out. Friday, I was using Friday as a frame of reference. If anybody's, I'll bore you with the details on it. I had my MRI read by the orthopedic surgeon, and he walked in and he had this diagram up on the thing, and you could see where bones and stuff were, and this little slider thing on this side. And he says, "I'm going to ask you the questions. What color is this?" I said, "It's white." "And what color is this?" "It's white." "And what color is this?" "It's white." "And what color is this?" "Well, that one's black." "Okay, yep. And you see this here? What do those look like?" And I said, "That looks like a bunch of little lines." And he goes, "Now look at this. There's lines right here. Is there a line here?" And I went back down through all of them and got to the last one, and I go, "Yeah, there's no line on that one on either side." And he goes, "See, you don't even need me. You just diagnosed it for yourself." So it's a 25% compression of the L1 vertebrae and a full herniation of the disc between L4 and L5. So I started asking a ton of questions, and the gentleman kept interrupting me. He was an awesome doctor, and he was all business. And he said, "Patience, we're gonna fix the first one. I will fix you." But we're going to do the bone first, and you do nothing, because they're concerned with the way that it eggshelled in the middle, that if it starts to collapse down on itself, it can get into the column and all this other shenanigans. So, sorry to break the news, my derby driving career is done.
It's too bad. You can sell Derby online, though, right? That's fine? Okay.
I actually haven't even been doing that. It actually hurts too much to sit up in those hard chairs.
I believe it.
And Cody Rates out in Vancouver, he goes, "So just lay down." And I tried it. It's weird. When you lay down and you try to drive, it's like your perceptions are off. It was terrible. So I just said enough was enough. You know who didn't do any laying down over the weekend? None whatsoever. Nick Quenzler.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't talked to him in a long time, but he's been terrorizing everybody in and around the new Alex area. He went down to Roaring Knob and came home with a victory, which was outstanding to learn about on Facebook. I tried to go through the proper channels with this. I talked to Chris first, who's his publicist.
Mm-hmm.
Got it all organized and everything. So Nick agreed to come on, mutually negotiated fees and such. So here's Nick. Nick, man, congratulations. That was awesome to see.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. It was a tough one for sure. That track's super fast, and there's a lot of competitive guys, and a lot of guys that like to use the skinny pedal for sure up there.
Is it a matter of survival on a track that you go in knowing is fast, and you go in knowing that there's guys that like to drive hard? Is it as simple as survival? In that, Demolition Derby cars are going to fall off. There's going to be attrition. I understand that the whole point is to survive to the end. But if you just stay invisible and cruise the perimeters and keep close to the walls and stay out of all that stuff, is it an easy feature to win?
I wouldn't say easy, but if you can survive the first storm and get past some of the headhunters and just drive your race, and if you're confident in your build and you have a good drive line, I think anybody really has a chance to win. I mean, luck is always got to be on your side as well, but the guys up there, they don't mess around. They like to get busy real quick in the heat. And if you get caught sleeping, especially in a stalker-style build, it could ruin your night real quick.
Sure. This is the Labor Day lockdown with Hardcore Derby Promotions, and so how much then did luck factor into this?
I can't really put a number on it, but everybody's lucky. I mean, there's something, some type of luck to it. But if you put the time into your car and you know what you have, the equipment and stuff, I'm not afraid to take any of my drive lines against anybody.
Sure.
But it just comes down to experience too. And if you can keep your calm and keep a cool head, and like I said, survive that first 15 minutes, you have a really good shot of doing really good.
Well, how much of that have we talked about before? That it isn't even necessarily the storm. It's being able to keep your composure, and
sure.
we've talked a lot about drivers who can do that, and they're usually the ones that you talk to at the end of the night.
Yep.
We're going to get into a little bit more of the unified points breakdown. We did get an update sent in by Mark Elliott, so we've got a schedule update. There hasn't been a change in the top 3. Back behind that, it's been shuffled like crazy. So we'll dive into that stuff a little bit deeper here. We do have results from this Derby. We also got some results to get to from Hawarden, and we're trying to find some stuff on Burlington and from Webster City for 440 Promotions, their last one. We got a little bit of information there too. But we're going to focus on hardcore. Over there at Roaring Knob, Labor Day Lockdown, Scott Drevenak won the Youth Compact class. Mason Stacy and Jared Marsh finishing out in the top 3 there. Minivans and SUVs, Matt Wingrove catching the win in that. Jeremy Balchek, Brandon Kinney, Jackson Salisbury, Lucas Victor running through the top 5. Hellraiser was Richie Fazenbaker. Youth full size, Carrick Firster won that one over Evan King and CJ Corwin. There was a tie back there in third. Melena Lowry was in the tie for third place in that one. Compact feature 1, Corey Dakin winning over Drew Fazenbaker and Jay Long. Brian Cargill taking the Hellraiser award there. Don Santel coming away with the win in the hardcore full size division. Wes Mount second. John Staggers, Tanner Voyers, and Darren Corder in the top 5. John Staggers Jr. taking third place and the Hellraiser award there. Compact feature 2 was Matt Davidson winning over J.D. Loreen and Timothy Hughes. Brandon Kinney taking the Hellraiser award there. Nick's division, the hobby stock, Nick Quenzler over Josh Manoski. Jimmy Fields, Jared McClure, Wesley Bouchite. Sorry, Wesley. Terry Snyder getting the Hellraiser award there. The kicker class, Davey Chapman coming away with the win in that one. Sam Saccone, Zach Lees getting third and the Hellraiser award in that one. So there's your results of what went down over there at Roaring Knob. And, you had some pretty stout competition in that, and you don't have as much as as much forgiveness as you get when you get up into some of the limited weld and kicker style cars that you get. How tough was that feature itself?
It was tough. That was actually the car that I ran was actually our 2-man extreme car that we built for up there, and my brother ran it about 3 weeks ago and got second in the feature and got stuck, and then I wasn't qualified for their championship, so I kind of pieced it back together and prayed that I could survive through the heat and hopefully just even get in the top 5. There was a lot of good cars there, and I kind of just got down into the top 3, and I was just battling out with Josh, and Josh doesn't give up, and we just went at it for a while, and I ended up coming up with the victory. We kind of got hit and got stuck, and I actually ripped the harmonic balancer off the front of my motor because his front suspension was broke. Whoops. So it kind of ended both of our nights stuck together. That's a no protector class. It's pretty stock, but you can do some stuff. But it's a nice, easy build. A nice, relaxing build. I mean, I'm more into the limited weld pro style cars, but with all the COVID stuff that happened, it kind of really shook our schedule up down this way. Mm-hmm. So we kind of got behind the ball. So we kind of didn't have time to build too many pro cars because not only down our way, the rolls were switching up, but just not being able to run anywhere. And then those guys up at Rolling Knob, Frankie Guy and Justin Herzl, man, they put on a hell of a show, and they definitely got one of the best places to run for sure in Western Pennsylvania.
So if you went back out and checked on the motor and see if it did any internal damage when you broke the harmonic balancer, or haven't you got that far yet?
Actually, I'm at the garage right now. We actually just got done cutting the car up, and we actually started the motor. When I hit them and it broke the harmonic balancer, it popped the cap and it broke the rotor, so that's why I wouldn't refire at the end. But I put a new rotor in it and checked everything, make sure it's still spinning straight. It's not even dripping oil or anything, so I'm actually pretty relieved because that was one of my brother's motors, so I was
whoops.
Because my drive line's locked down in a pro car right now, and I got out and they handed me the check, and I just handed it straight to him, and I was like, just let me know the damage. So, But everything was good. Everything, it runs perfect. It fired right up. I was just thankful, because, it ain't no $10,000 motor, but it's an Old Faithful,
Yeah, something you wouldn't want to lose.
Yeah, it's very reliable.
Yeah, because I've heard of
heart-wrenching to lose it.
I've heard of harmonic balancers coming off and taking chunks of crank out with them, so that could be a bad break sometimes.
Yeah, I was when we started it up yesterday morning to pull it off the trailer, and it was just the rotor. I was in awe that nothing else was wrong with it.
That's good.
I was very happy though, because my pockets aren't empty now.
I was going to say, did you go back and take the check back from your brother now?
Well, see, I built in his garage, so pretty much, and the car, like I said, was our two-man extreme car, so we split everything. Like,
that's cool.
There were parts of my stuff in there and parts of his. So I just said, give me back whatever you don't want.
He might buy you a soda or something over the, cash the check.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine with me. He lets me get away with a lot of stuff in the garage and doesn't charge me any rent or anything, so I can't complain.
That's cool. It's cool to have a relationship like that with your brother.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be nowhere in this sport I grew up in it, but if it wasn't for him and just the way we push each other to do what we do, I wouldn't be nowhere. So I owe a lot to him, for sure. Just bouncing ideas off each other, but he's the crew chief is what I call him. He's the one that calls the shots.
That's cool.
Just kind of extrapolating out from little bits of information. Was Chris the one working the pedals when it was the two-man extreme car when it existed in that build?
Yeah, Chris was working the pedals and I was driving. That was probably the most scared I've ever been in a car.
Why is that?
It was from the time they dropped the flag. It was wide open. It was just everybody was just flying, and that track is so fast and so hard packed. It was crazy. We just unfortunately kind of got bundled up down in the corner and stuck on some cars that were junk and just couldn't work our way out of there. That's why the car was actually still good, because every car from that heat was toast.
Yeah, it was.
So it ended up, working out for us. Even if we got stuck, we were pretty bummed, but we had still a good car to go try and qualify with.
Sure. So, and now you're qualified for the championship, right?
Yeah, September 26th. I'm pretty sure it's 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
tough time building another car.
That's basically where we're at. His championship's car is done. Mine's not even started. I don't know if I'm running a pre-ran car or a fresh car. So I have decisions to make.
We're gonna have you got to make them quick.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Frankie
yeah.
on. Frankie's going to be on the show to kind of give us a preview a little bit. The qualifiers list is out, and it's already on the hardcore page. We're going to dive into that a little bit deeper when we have Frankie on. He has to come on and pitch that final encounter. You said that I don't want this to come off wrong. You said that it was wide open. It was just a fast-paced event. Is it because you don't have the pedals that everything feels faster, or was the pace that much more aggressive than what you typically drive?
It was like, I've been in some like KEystone Nationals. Mm-hmm. Some of the features started out slow but got fast, and that, like I said, is one of the fastest tracks I ever ran on. Like the rain does not bother that track at all, and it didn't rain at all. It was just, I think everybody just wanted to run hard for some reason. I think the group of guys that they have to go up and run their shows are not afraid to jump cars. And it was just so fast. It was definitely different because I've never done that before. And just driving up and down the road at our garage, I'm trying to hit the brake or hit the gas, and all I got is a steering wheel. It's just totally different.
Yeah, that's. I've talked about that with guys before. Jeremy Gully and I have busted chops back and forth, and I don't think I could do it. Like, I don't, because maybe if I was running the pedals, but if I was just steering, because I think it's a control thing. Like, I want to be able to control how hard I hit that car at the other end of the track, and I don't know. It's fun to watch. I love watching it. They usually always put on a great show, but you definitely got to have somebody in there that you feel, that you trust and you feel secure with. It's a pretty neat heat. Oh, excuse me. But to watch somebody, or to just jump in there, and I don't know. I mean, it's something completely different for us. I mean, we've all that have drove are used to being in complete control, but in theory,
right.
But and all of a sudden you only got half the control or less than half the control. It's crazy.
Yeah, and his driving style is completely different than mine. He is definitely the more aggressive one, and I'm the more let it come to me.
Mm-hmm.
He is not afraid to use the pedals. I'm more conservative. He's ready to go.
Yeah.
It was. We didn't get enough time to fill it out. I think we really would have liked to do it again to try to see, just to do it, but
yeah.
It was definitely different. It was. And the more time you do it and have in it, obviously you would have clicked and got on the same page.
I remember some of the trips down to Pennsylvania when we saw Chris and Nick running at the same time. That Chris was definitely that description's accurate.
Yeah, more aggressive.
Very, very much so. But is that why his pro car is done already, and your powertrain is still stuffed in a pro car? Because he used this.
The reason why my stuff's stuck in a car is because over the winter, the local show from us that's literally 5 minutes from our garage, I built to, and then COVID hit, and then they changed their rules and didn't tell anybody until you showed up at the show.
Ooh.
So I was kind of behind. Like, I didn't even, like, if the car was good enough to run somewhere else, I would fix it. Like, I really wanted to run KEystone Nationals, but all my stuff's tied into this car.
Sure.
So it's kind of, with work and everything, it kind of screwed me because they changed their rules mid-season because only a handful of guys wanted to run a certain class and a handful of guys wanted to run the pro style, and they just went with what they thought was going to be best, and it didn't work out in my favor, but I'm stuck with a pro car and they're running stock stuff. So it kind of ruined my summer a little bit because all my stuff's tied up, but we'll see. If I have the time, I might try getting it in somewhere, but right now I'm focused on the championship that I'm qualified.
Yep, makes sense.
It sucks because Keystone Nationals is literally in our backyard this year.
Sure is.
It got moved, and I like the rules. I do, but time-wise, I don't want to throw something together for that big of a show and have something stupid happen.
Yep.
So it's not looking good for me.
Well, that means you'd have to throw together two cars.
Yeah.
One for the championship and one for the Nationals. Nationals is in 2 weeks. It's on September 19th, so that's right around the corner. I'm bummed, because like I said, that's a big money show, and it's a decent set of rules. I'd like to see a little bit different stuff, but it's hard to complain when you have a show that's 5 minutes away from you for $10,000. But it's just the car that I have built for the pro class isn't the caliber of car I'd take to a $10,000 show right now. You know,
Yeah.
Sure.
It wasn't as clean as I'd like it to be, so you got to give or take. If I'm not 100% confident on my build, then I can't see myself just going there just to run, you know?
Yep.
Are these all Crown Vics that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's a 9802. It had a hole in the crush box. It was actually wrecked. I found out when I got it after I started grinding the doors and the trunk. It had a quarter replaced, so that kind of freaks me out. I'm like a perfectionist, so I kind of I was just building it as a heat car just to get rid of it, and then all that happened, and I was going to run it in Nationals, but it wasn't as clean as I liked it to be, and I couldn't find the 70s car in time.
Right.
So I'm more of an old iron guy, but I like 9802s. that's probably would have been my second pick. But like I said, I just didn't have the time and all my stuff to build a 100% car the way I wanted to.
Gotcha. Yeah. Chris and Nick were part of easily one of the best Keystone Nationals ever when we were down there. That was when Chuck Bucknam came down, and he had it was an electric 225.
I was going to say Buick, yeah.
That was as long as like a Geo Prism when
Yeah.
he was done.
Yeah.
When it was all said and done, and Pete drove with no steering, and it was Chris and Nick kept trying to pin him in. And remember, they shoved those tires were back almost to the grass.
Yep.
When they kept bouncing around, and it was outstanding. It was.
Yeah. This Keystone Nationals is has a great history of derbies. I mean, we can only hope that the next chapter is as good. I mean, it was funny. Well, not funny. I mean, it's I watched one that you'd done and recently, and man, just the action and the drivers. And last week, Mark Siopa sent me a video of the raffle car that they've built. And it's like, raffle car's almost ready. And I was like, I'm going down there as just a fan. I'm not working on I'm not working. I'm just going as a fan. I'm like, I'm gonna buy some tickets for that. So we're gonna give that a shot and see if I get lucky. But he said, I can't tell you the drivers' names, but he said it's gonna be a great show. So
Yeah.
Mark's been around a few derbies, so for Mark to say that, it's definitely going to be a good show. And I was going to ask Nick if they were going to make it, but he just touched on that. So looking forward to it. I mean,
And Sam Tell made it back to Pennsylvania.
Yes,
He knows where he's going.
Yeah, he knows where he's going, and he's taking a little bit of money out of there now a couple times. So,
How great was it that Davey Chapman won?
Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, that's awesome.
I saw Nick had won and jumped on top of that, and it wasn't until I was reading through this stuff tonight and getting the full results and everything packaged up that I caught Davey's name. I'd missed that. So
wasn't it at the Superstock show that Davey had a Cordoba?
Oh, I think a Chrysler is going to be a great car to run there. If you read the rules,
there's
what you're allowed to do.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot more Chryslers than people think.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. But
I don't know if he had a Cordoba. I thought it was something older though.
What's Davey's number? 43.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a cherry Cordoba, and it came apart on him. And I remember
it was the one that almost broke in half, basically.
Yeah,
right?
And I remember
it's the same car that we're thinking of. I thought it was older.
And I just remember him afterwards being like, "I'm never running a Mopar again."
He's all done.
Yeah, I'll done the Mopars.
That was when everything got shuffled around, and it was July 11th or something during that season that he ran and did really well. I almost think that he won, and then the Keystone Nationals were like 2 weeks later, and it wasn't the same luck.
Yeah, it'd be cherry Cordoba too. I mean, that thing was like off the showroom floor. I remember. That's the one I just watched. But yeah, so I talked to Mark back and forth a little bit about what he'd bring and what he would think would win, and it's going to be interesting. He mentioned some of the rules to me again, and I'd read them over, but nothing too in depth. I don't pay much attention to rules unless I'm building for a show. Then I really don't do too much, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be pretty nasty.
Yeah, I agree. I think the rules that they have, definitely an 80s car or a 70 GM or a Chrysler. I mean, he opened it up pretty good for anybody really to build a really competitive car. And I think that's going to be one of the best shows that are like this year in PA for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I heard his car count went up pretty good. I heard he has a good car count. So I heard some of the people that are coming from far away. And
yep.
It's gonna be a good turnout.
Yeah, definitely.
I sure am willing to believe it. While we're here, we might better do this, get that taken care of. Keystone Nationals 2020 is on September the 19th. It's in New Alexandria, Pennsylvania this year at the New Alex Lions Club. $10,000 to win Super Stock Division. The stock compacts are on the card as well. $1,500 to win there. $700 to win Youth Class. Pit gates at 9. General admission at 2. Derby at 6. All the division winners get a championship belt, and the youth winner will also get a turnkey Derby-ready car. Brent Johnson from Redline had some video of the engine that's going in that. Mm-hmm. That thing was Sounded okay. I think it'll be all right.
Did you see the picture of David Early's son's motor?
I did not.
He's got a red line Mopar.
I did see that. I didn't realize, I didn't put it together, but I saw Redline Mopar on the news feed, and I immediately thought of you. I'm like, son of a gun.
Yeah.
It finally happened.
Yeah, red line Mopar. Which now I'm going to have to bust on Pete and be like, hey, money isn't an object. You should be running a red line Mopar, let's be honest.
He's going to do that.
But he had a picture of his truck. He had 2 red lines and 2 brand new transmissions in the back of it. So I don't think he'll be ordering another motor anytime soon. So.
Well, Nick, man, congratulations on the win. I was very happy to see you make it back into victory lane. Good to see that you're qualified for the championship, too. So hopefully in a couple weeks we'll be talking again.
Oh, hopefully. I really appreciate you guys having me on tonight.
Absolutely. Man. Keep us informed as things go. If you're doing anything beyond the end of September, if you're going to get out any place, let us know where you guys might be, and we'll try to follow up with you on that. Anybody that you want to make mention of here before we let you go?
Just, the guys that helped me in my shop, Bill Gaffey, my brother Chris Quenzler, my buddy Joey Leonard, those guys. Smith Metalworks, they helped me out with a lot of parts this year. Their stuff works flawlessly. Obviously, Brent Johnson with Redline, that's my motor guy. So that's really about it.
So Nick, just between you and us, your brother won't hear. If it comes down to you and him at the finals, I mean, easy money or what?
Oh, definitely.
All right, just trying to make sure.
Definitely.
That's funny.
That's what I like to hear.
He's a better heat driver, and I tell him all the time, I'm the feature guy. So if I have to, I'll take a poke at him early just to wound him.
There you go.
Nice. Awesome. Well, you guys be safe building. Good luck getting everything together, and good luck at the end of the month.
All right, guys. Thank you.
We'll see
Have
you
a good
later,
one.
Nick.
Take care.
Thanks. A couple thoughts from Nick Quenzler winning the hobby stock class down there at Roaring Knob, Labor Day lockdown. So let's jump into this here real quick.
Were you shocked to see Don Santel won again?
No.
Me either.
No. Unified Point Series, the standings right now, John Shipley's still out in front, but he gave up a little bit of ground because he only finished 3rd.
Whoa.
I know, right? When the worst finish of your 8 runs is 3rd because the rest of them were wins.
Him and Kyle Larson will be hanging out.
Yeah, it's probably an okay year. Don Santel picked up a win, as we said, in Pennsylvania, so he is at this point 2nd place. Jeremy Riley is sitting in 3rd right now. A couple updates for you on where things are at. Don Santel picked up 4 points on Shipley. He was an assassin, as he described. Shipley takes his first loss at 3rd place. Santel and Wingrove, they left Pennsylvania Saturday after the Derby and drove through the night to run Portland on Sunday.
That's insane.
Matt Wingrove moved up to 4th, overtaking Nick and Travis Pennock jumped from 8th to 5th after doing well in the prequel to the King, which was out there in Indiana. Richard Davis and Rick Furster steal 6th place after wins in PA and Indiana. Youth drivers Boston Barnett and Mason Stacy and Jeremy picked up top 10 spots. Jeremy Heinen, he won the weld class out there in Portland, and Brendan Wisman also moving up into the top 10. Pretty sure Brendan Wisman, that name stands out as he won the RC Derby Bash for Cash and then won the compact 2-man class. I'm pretty sure that's it. That's that name.
The Bronze ran out there as well.
Yes, they did.
Trace, I think it was Trace and Joey ran. I don't know how they made out, but
Was that?
I don't know how they made out.
Was that on the screen? Yeah, it did, because we did all that other stuff. Out there at TJ McCulloch was at Roaring Knob, and he said that they must have been paying $10,000 to the highest standing bumper, because walking around the pits, everything was like eye level. It was crazy.
That's awesome.
Jeffy's Fab Farm continuing to be a big supporter of Demolition Derby end-to-end. Online, jeffysfabfarm.com. Check out the virtual store. Recognized as an industry leader in all manner of fabrication needs, Jeffy's Fab Farm is a national go-to for a number of Demolition Derby parts. Jeffy's Fab Farm specializes in the LS conversion components, but earn major Derby cred with their various header offerings. Jeffy's Fab Farm released earlier this year the 4-cylinder Camry engine mount, and then also headers that fit on the Hyundai Elantra 1.8 and 2.0 displacement engines. The store offers bumper-to-bumper selection, including fuel and air parts, suspension and transmission items, steering components, pedal shifters, switches, and gauges. If you need it, just visit the farm. Smith Metalworks, we heard a reference to them. Tyler Smay had some photos of Thunderbirds because they're not going to be able to go to Stoneboro this year.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen that way.
Yeah.
So he had some stuff up there, and he was talking about Smith Metalworks stuff, and he built such a nasty Thunderbird, man.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see. Smith Metalworks is an all-purpose fabrication shop that has taken the Northeast by storm. Smith Metalworks features more than 40 years of combined metalworking experience. The hallmark of the product line is the pointed and flat front bumpers, replicating popular factory releases. They can be stuffed or ran hollow. There's also a compact version of the pointed bumper. Other items include the Crown Vic door skins, battery boxes, engine mounting systems, and pedal combos and shifters. The shop offers all the odds and ends, such as distributor clamps and weld-in centers. Be sure to ask about their GM floor liners. In-person locations are in Mercer, Uniontown, and Bethlehem, or make the trip down to the KEystone Nationals or the final encounter at Roaring Knob in September, the last event for hardcore, and you can pick your stuff up in person. Experience and passion second to none. smithmetalworks.info for more information on that one. So we've got those are all taken care of. We did the points. Let's see what else we got here in the hopper. Burlington. I cannot say for sure if this is where the win happened. I reached out to Andy both by text and by Facebook. Andy Wolfhanger picked up a win this weekend, and I think it was at Burlington. At a four-door GM.
Caddy.
Safe assumption, yeah. I hesitate to say caddy because you don't know for sure what's making that car what it is.
Yeah, it was a caddy. I saw pictures of it.
But was it just a caddy?
Yeah, because if you're going to do caddy and something else, it'd be caddy caddy frame and Oldsmobile body, and it had the caddy body on it.
So he picked up a win, and he credited a bunch of folks. Owed it to everybody that was part of it: Ken Swingle, Dylan Swingle, Matt Gaskin Jr., Aaron Dollinger, Cody Riley, Thomas Dowd, Mark Dowd, and Sue Latunic Wolfhanger. Shout out to Double D Motorsports for putting on a well-organized show. Jeff Indiana Baldwin came through. Baldwin got his motor back to him just in time, so we could get the car finished up in place. In Hawarden, this was Domination Motorsports. Motor Class, Michael Swain picked up the win there. Minivans, Tyler Sjoblom took the win, and Dominic Kriesap got the Mad Dog in that class. Mod Class, Kyle Puddlewitter picked up the win, and he got Mad Dog with it as well. So that was outstanding to see.
Good.
Hobo Class, Jesse Ravitch picked up the win, and Tim Messelheiser picking up the Mad Dog honors there. Front-wheel drive Hobo Stock, front-wheel drive Hobo Stock. Any guesses? Go out on a limb? Maybe? Compact in Iowa?
No, because the guys I'm thinking usually don't build hobo stocks.
Kevin Ullman. Mad Dog went to Sunny Worth. Ben Leonard won Street Stocks, another name that's familiar to us here on the show. Alex Reed got the Mad Dog in there. Hawarden is in the books. Now on September the 13th, Domination is going to head off to Mobile. So they'll be out there. Season wrapped up in Webster City, Iowa for 448 promotion. Stacy Flynn picked up a win over there. We remember meeting Stacy in our travels up to Winter Slam. Mm-hmm. So he got the win up in Webster City with 448 promotions. That is it for the season for them. I'm still waiting on the final point tabulations to come out. I didn't get them, and then once we started the show, I wasn't able to get back to find them at this time. We'll pop this in here real quick, and then we got to get Chris Lancaster online, talk a little bit about his weekend. Smash and Demolition Derbies has a couple dates left on the calendar. September the 23rd is the Geauga County Fair in Burton, Ohio. Smash It Kicker Class, Street Stock, full-size, compact street stock, Smash It Compacts, full-size trucks, and Power Wheels, the order of the day there. October the 3rd is Courthouse Crash in Washington Courthouse, Ohio. Two-man pro stock teams, full-size street stocks, mini stocks, full-size modified cars, street stock street stock build minivan trucks and SUVs, also on the card there in Washington Courthouse. October the 24th is the fall cleanup event, pro stocks, modified trucks, street stocks, full-size and compact versions of it, and then street stock, minivan truck and SUV class, Smash It Compacts, and the Power Wheels. Jump online for rules for each of those on smashitderby.com. I would advise calling ahead before you put any plates any place, just to make sure you don't put too many, because nobody wants to cut in the cold in October.
Well, it is Ohio.
Right. That is true.
You know how stuff is done in Ohio. They call it Ohio style.
I do know how that goes. That is a fact. Kyle Puddlewitter, when I was juggling things, I had made a mental note to reach out to him, and I didn't, and I apologize for that, because that was a big win for him and that whole crew. There was the Mad Dog Awards were recognizing TJ, and he had TJ's name. So remember TJ when he passed away there. Mm-hmm. Good friend of all those guys, and I trust. Probably would have been tough, but all the same, congratulations out to him, and
definitely.
And I apologize for missing that. I had made the note and never didn't write it down on paper, and I forgot about it.
Well, you've had 11 concussions. We understand.
Was it you that I was counting him back through with?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember that.
Yeah, it's all right.
Burton is next weekend, September the 12th.
Yeah, I saw a picture of the Magician's car afterwards with him and Jill standing next to it, and there wasn't a whole lot left. It looked like that was a pretty aggressive derby as well.
Jill loaded a bunch of videos.
Yeah.
I was messing around with the with some replica cars. I was building some replica skins for BeamNG.drive and Realistic Derby Project stuff, and I had released some pictures and stuff because now you can skin the shockers, and I was focusing on cars from our area that I had done artwork for, because it's easy to take the graphic and drop it on, and it doesn't take a lot of recreation stuff, and threw about 12 cars or whatever together. And there's a car in the game that I think it's supposed to be like a 62 Impala, but you can't make everything identical. Like when it flips over, you can see it's got an X-frame in it, but the pillars look a little funny, and the nose isn't quite right. So it can pass for a late 50s, early 60s Ford. And remember when Chris had that wagon? Mm-hmm. And then I think he had an older Ford that had
Winter Slam.
The Thunderbird, I think, that had a Cadillac motor in it. And then he had another old Ford that he ran. So I'm like, this is going to be a challenge. Maybe it'd be fun to try it. And I got the car to work. I got the artwork done on it, and I sent it to him. I didn't even know that he was running at that point.
Oh, really?
So I sent him a picture of the car, and then a little bit later on, there's all these news feed updates. That it's like, holy crap, they're at a derby. I didn't mean to bother her, but I showed Melissa a picture of the car, and she goes, yeah, he just won. I go, what? So I started looking through his page. I'm like, oh my God. So
that's cool.
So that's why why I was a little bit behind on it for him. But
yeah, I'm going to have to, I got to get a hold of you when I'm at home, and we got to start working on setting up the computer at home so I can play some Demolition Derby online.
Once you pay for your entries.
Listen, next week, why don't you text me at 5 o'clock?
Why don't you remember?
Because I've had a few concussions myself, and I'm getting ready to send my son into the senior year. I'm ready for a nervous breakdown at any point.
Yeah, hang on. I'm busy fighting with Brian. All right. We should have Chris Lancaster on the line. Chris, man, how are you?
I'm good. I'm live from Bootleggers.
That's awesome. Congratulations on the win this weekend. That was outstanding.
Oh, you're too kind. You're too kind. It's 2 years since a win, so I was pretty happy.
So, did you have the caddy, the 502 caddy in it for good luck, or what?
So you're gonna laugh because I remember that time a while back when you and I were together when you said, "I bet you wish you didn't bring the Caddy 500." So I remember that. I remember that clearly. So my wife and I made a deal. I was gonna buy a new guard motor, and the deal was, in order to buy the guard motor, which is a really nice motor, I could no longer run a Caddy 500. So unfortunately, I had to have a guard in it, and no more Caddy 500s for me.
That's all right. Them guard motors run pretty good, so it wasn't a real big loss to not run the Caddy anymore.
I asked Jeremy if he'd build me a Caddy, and he said no.
I can see his face. No.
I'm not lying. I also asked Steve if he'd build me a Caddy cradle, and he said no.
I think they're conspiring against you.
Yeah, it sounds that way.
You said that this win at Cedar Lakes was it wasn't anything as high profile as what some of the other places that you like to pull on wins for, and you're getting ready for the team show in Bakken. coming up. What's the plan for the team show out there?
So the team show, it's going to be like a bucket list item. So I get to run with Corn Dog Corey, who is like, if you ever seen him run a team show, he's like the slowest driver, but amazing. He's really good. He set the trunk. It was like it was Metal Mayhem 1999. He's like the only guy that won a team show without hitting anyone. Without hitting anyone. But his trunk was set. It was amazing. It looked great. No, Corn Dog's amazing. He's a great guy. He's going to bring a Vic to an old iron show, so that'll be cool. But in all seriousness, so here's the bucket list item. Rob Hewer from Caddy Nation, he agreed to run with us. Can you believe that?
Whoa,
Wow.
that's cool.
Yeah. That's very cool.
That's
That's
awesome.
what I said.
That's excellent. How much convincing did that take?
Well, he was letting his welder cool down one day. It was really hot, so he had to go to his bar and have a couple drinks. And we're like, hey, you want to run with us? So Carson Dixon's the fourth. We need a fourth. We'd love to have you. Someday we'd love to run. And he's like, with all this COVID shit, I want to run. And he's like, I'm in.
Cool.
So we were like ecstatic.
Cool. Now, what are you taking? Are you taking something? You've Chris and I touched. You've run a bunch of old Fords, and you've found some unique cars over the years. You gonna take something unique, or you gonna take a tried and true car?
So if you've noticed, I take the unique, cool stuff to like local, like Winter Slam, where I'm not really. I still love the unique stuff. That's the fun of Derby. Like, you shouldn't always be competitive. You shouldn't always be like stressing out about it.
Yep.
But for this show and how big of a show it is, I'm taking a 74 Caddy.
Hard to argue.
Yep.
Now this
270. I think Rob's taking a 74 too. Anyway, he's taking a 3 or a 4, 73 and a 4, and then Carson's going to run his first ever wagon.
wow.
Oh, nice. Boy, watch out. That kid can drive. You start giving those rails in the back after that thing starts to fold up.
Yeah.
You can do some damage.
I mentioned to Chris, it looked like it was a pretty tough Derby. I mean, your car, you looked like you used it up to get that win.
No, it is. So I have friends from across the country, and you guys, obviously you do too. You guys do such a really great job for everyone. But I genuinely believe when you run in Minnesota and Wisconsin, you're running against the best in the country every damn weekend at a county fair. Mm-hmm. And there were just a lot of really good cars, a bunch of guys that figured out 03s. And Tom Stern, who, I mean, he's a legend himself.
Oh,
he
sure.
was out there running a wagon, and that thing was pristine. But the boat tail was able to hold up fairly well, so I was pretty happy. I let him hit the trunk a lot.
Yeah, it looked like it was a little pushed in the back.
I'm not going to say I did a ton of hitting. I mean, I was definitely not the mad dog, nor am I normally ever the mad dog. But I've learned from others like John Mavis, and he's taught me, he's like, you don't win being the mad dog. So not that I hate the mad dogs, Eric Belay and others that are mad dogs. That's awesome, but
Yeah,
I try to be in the middle.
absolutely.
Tom Stern, man, that's a name from some Blizzard Bash days gone by.
Yep.
Good driver.
Yeah, definitely.
Chris, what year was the Cadillac that you had when your team won Wadena a couple years back, when Dustin Anderson was on the team?
That was a 73.
It was a 3.
That was a good show too. I watched that probably a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. That was it's weird. I've said it before. Is usually we're so busy with derbies that's I just don't ever watch them at home because we're out on the road for them and but there hasn't been any derbies in a little while, so I've really been catching up on derbies on YouTube. So I watched that again, and that was a very good show.
That I remember a couple things from that derby, from the feature inspection line. That was the time I think Chris came through line and had the wheels dished backwards. And had a bunch of conversation about that. And then Sam, I think that was the year that Sam almost didn't make it, or his team was down a car. And the Zacharias, CJ, and his dad were on the same team. Mm-hmm. And no, they had two different teams.
Yeah,
and
they
the
did.
guy that had the wolf on his roof sign, Torrey Hyde.
Yep.
He was on one of the Zacharias teams, and then in the feature, I remember looking across the track because I was down low, and it was one of the only times I ever remember seeing a water fountain come out of a stack. Neil Jerry turned the thing over, and it was just water. It's like that's probably not good. And then Dustin Anderson's car that you could have put headlights back in.
You know, the funny thing about that is the way it was set up and taped. The one I watched is it showed the cars like driving up out of the pits, and then they'd come over the crown of the corner and down, and those cars were so stiff they'd come up and they'd be perfectly stiff, and then high side and back, like there was no give in any suspension or anything. It was just whoop boom, whoop boom. It was great. But I mean, we've touched on that before. I mean, like Chris said, you get out to Minnesota and there's a lot of great drivers. There's a lot of hard drivers, a lot of great builders. There's no easy shows out that way at all, for sure.
No,
hey, man, this is like memory lane. I remember when we first met you. You guys have blown up so much. You guys do so much for the sport and everything. But that was so cool. And we were all drinking and having fun after the show. And Dustin, obviously, man, he's a wheelman and a legend himself. I mean, he's a great driver. He's now building cars for people, lucky people who get to drive one of the cars he built. He'll have like 4 cars at Blizzard Bash this year, I tell you.
Wow.
Well, he built the wagon for, was it Brandon Bernstein? One of the Bernstein boys had one of his cars.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, because he sent me a logo that he wanted decals printed. So we got them printed on 96.
Yeah.
And then I had to make the trip over there before we caught our flight so that we had the decal, and it made the trip out there, and we delivered it. And I kept waiting for that car to get turned the right way so I could make sure that the right person got the decal.
I remember that. Yeah.
And then finally, after the heat, I was like, okay, good.
Yeah, I remember that now that you mention it. That was for Capital City Carnage, right? Because I remember.
Yes. It might have been Capital City Carnage.
We were out delivering them in the because they were parked like right along one of the roads in the parking lot.
Right.
But,
yep.
Yeah, I remember that. Nice wagons.
Yeah, I think both of them ran this year, and I think we got to do the same musical chairs game. We got there though.
Yeah, didn't he run a team car or 2-man that was a nice car, nice car.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I forgot we had to get that stuff to them too. That stuff I think shipped though. I don't remember the details on it. The car looked good.
Yeah.
That's quite the 2-man tandem when you think about it. Dustin and Dustin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
What's the date for that team show coming up?
Next weekend.
Is it next weekend already? Damn.
So next weekend, we Carson Dixon. He starts his cars a week before the shows always, so he's still, he might allegedly have taken it to the factory to work on it in their shop while he was on breaks, allegedly. He'll get it done.
Carson does sometimes start things a little late. So when Chris says right now that the Derby's next weekend and that Carson's going to run a wagon, it's possible that Carson's out shopping for a wagon right now.
Oh, that's great. Well, I mean, not everyone's like Chris and has a stash in the backyard. You just go out and go, all right, I guess I'll run this caddy this weekend and pull it out of the line.
It's funny because it's true. He really was shopping in the parking lot, and he finally figured it out, and we convinced him to run it. But Carson's been an amazing addition. We finally made the main at Blizzard Bash, thanks in large part to him and stuff. But and obviously the other guys too. But he's a you can't freak out about it. Like how we all are different.
Yep.
If you're going to be in a team show, you got to just trust that your teammates are doing it right, and Carson's going to do it right, but he's not going to do it early.
That is one of the things
look at it.
That there's teams that are clustered right together, like Caddy Nation. They're all right close together. But Chris's crew, there's California, and there's the Dakotas, and there's Minnesota. So you do have to put a lot of trust in.
They all show up at Topeka ready to go.
Yep. Ryan's cars, there's no question. Those are solid. So Mitch isn't going to run this year? Is he all done then?
He is fully retired other than running for his son. I mean, he's a hell of a wheelman, but He's just reached a spot with his two boys. They're getting older and stuff, and so he's doing other stuff. He's been wheeling and fishing, and it's awesome. I see pictures of him fishing and catching this shit, and his boys are, he's a proud father. Two great, awesome kids. But just Derby doesn't quite fit in, and as we all know, man, Blizzard Bash costs a lot of money, a lot of time, so I can't fault him for taking a break from it while we we got Bob Meyer picked up, so we were feeling good about our chances this year.
Absolutely.
So how does the change of the schedule, with that being pushed out to March, how does that affect you guys?
Oh, my God, I celebrated. I was like the happiest guy ever. I didn't think there's any way that they were going to run this. There was, like, no way. And not because Tim and Candace haven't done everything they can do, but, like, with the states and COVID, there's only so much you can control.
Right.
So I was happy to have a little bit more certainty and let us all build. And I just think it's better for everybody. Better for them, better for the show, better for all the drivers, for the fans.
I was just thinking, don't tell Carson it was moved to March.
Well, there you go.
Nice try. I'm going to try that one. I'll let you know how it goes.
That's great.
So what else is on the schedule then for you guys besides this coming weekend with the team show? Is that going to be it for the year?
No, just like everybody, it's hard to find a show. So when you find a show, the cars that are showing up are high volumes of cars, and wow, they're really built. So so after that, I'm hoping to run John Mavis's. He's got a cleanup show in October, so I'm hoping to run that as well as maybe Josh Stock's cleanup show if there's anything left.
Cool. Yeah.
But I'm a very blessed man. I do thank the Lord for my blessings, and I normally have like 3 or 4 pre-runs, and with COVID and stuff, because I haven't been able to build new stuff, I'm actually have run them all up by the end of the year. Time to build a new old Ford.
There you go.
How's the Hammer doing?
Oh my God, he's awesome. He was complaining. He went fishing for a 7-day trip, and he only caught 14 fish. And God, he's been going on for like 3 weeks about how he only caught 14 fish, and it was the worst trip ever.
Was that the one was that the trip where he was squatted down on the edge of the boat and holding onto the fish by the tail, and it looked like it was about 6 feet tall?
Yeah, and he was complaining. He's like, that fish is too small. I think
poor
that's
guy.
A bigger fish.
I keep encouraging him to use dynamite to bring the fish to the top, and he doesn't seem to think that's a good idea.
I know. I'm like, the worst day fishing is better than working, and we're trying to get him to come out here, but it's been a little bit tough with his schedule. Sure. He was nice though. He sold me 3 caddies. So as soon as we get the shipper worked through, we'll have 3 more California caddies. By the way, have you ever seen an El Clasico?
No.
What?
El Clasico.
No.
Look it up. Google it. He sold me a very limited edition El Clasico. I'm going to have to derby that thing somewhere nice.
Cool, I think.
Oh, goodness.
An El
It's
Clasico.
a limited edition. I think it's a 73. Maybe it's a 74. But anyway, it's either a 73 or 74 El Clasico. It's got like a special trunk. It's got a special hood that looks like a Rolls Royce. It's got a special C-pillar. It's like, I hope it has special frame rails, too. I'm sure it will by the time it's done.
Yeah, special 1/2-inch frame rails.
T1, right?
Absolutely. Just send it. What you should have done is you should have had just a frame sent to Chivers, and then he could have worked on the frame, and they got the frame and body sent back to you. You could have just assembled it.
Good point. Can you imagine how heavy his car is going to be now that Blizzard Bash is delayed?
Oh, my God.
Another Derby?
The lift wouldn't lift it up last year. I don't know what's going to happen now.
Poor Bob. I shouldn't even say it because Bob's going to have a heart attack, like thinking about how much iron Ryan's going to have in that.
No
He's going to
kidding.
have gussets on the gussets.
No kidding. Yeah, that's and I've said this about all cars, but especially about Chivers cars, that for people that go to Blizzard Bash the first time, just walk around and look at the cages. And Ryan's is definitely one you want to go check out, because that thing is you are not going to get inside of that car with anything short of a nuclear weapon. It's he puts a lot of time and energy building the cage in that thing.
No doubt.
Did you find it?
His dad welded this is such a very nuanced story, but anyway, very briefly, his dad welded the bar that went from the halo to the gas tank protector about 3 years ago, and his weld broke, and Ryan will never let his dad live it down that a weld on his car actually broke.
Oh, goodness. How hard do you have to hit to break a weld inside on the cage? Like, that's crazy that they're getting hit that hard. Oh, I don't know how I mean, I love watching you guys do it, but I don't know oh, man. I wouldn't walk for like 3 weeks after that show. I'd just sit in a tub of ice and cry a lot, I think.
That's why Eric quit, right? And Nick broke his wrist, you know?
Yeah, broke his wrist, concussions.
They are getting a little bit, I don't know, I don't want to go there too much, but they're getting so hard, you just don't want people to get hurt. You want to have fun and wreck shit, but you don't want people to get hurt.
Truth.
I think that's a product of what it is. It's so competitive. People are figuring more stuff out, and the rules aren't necessarily allowing anything different. It's just that people are figuring out how to make things not
harder.
bend.
Yeah, and that's we've touched on that a million times. It's that, it's great to see hard hits and it's great to see cards get bent, but unfortunately, the harder a card gets, the soft, gooey stuff inside, i.e., the driver, is what takes the abuse. So. Someday they may have to revisit the rules and back them down a little bit. And, I don't know what the answer is, but it's definitely a wild show.
Yep, absolutely.
I have to tell you, so this Caleb Sorensen guy and the Bakken out in Montana, I think he's doing a ton right. These aren't soft cards. If you get a chance to watch the pay-per-view or head out there, they're not soft cars, but they're not Blizzard Bash hard cars, so they bend. And to me, now I like hard cars too, don't get me wrong, I love them both. But it's a really fun show where cars are hard, but they bend at the end of the day, and they're all junk, and people are just driving really hard. So if you get a chance, I think it'd be a really good show for people to watch on pay-per-view.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm pretty sure the Derby.
And hopefully we win. I need to. It'd be nice to win a team one again. It's been a little while.
Absolutely.
You guys had a good run in Mandan, one of the years that we were out there. You guys had a decent run. I think it was Wally Meyer that ended up winning that.
It was, man. Those guys were great drivers, hard drivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did a
they
bunch
were so
of work.
good, I had to beg them to join my team.
Absolutely.
Well, he got pinned up against the wall, and he ended up rocking the car back and forth and driving up on the tires so that he could get grip to drive out of the hole. It was pretty handy
cool.
driving. I got a message here from Andy Wolfanger. He's been at work all day, and it's been 3 years for him, and It was 2 years for Chris. So that's really cool. He still isn't even home yet. He wants to get together sometime, but obviously tonight isn't going to pan out. It won't because it's 7:00.
Yep.
But it is what it is. So, Chris, man, is there anybody that you want to make mention of? I know we talked about the guard motor, and we talked a lot about the team and the guys that helped get you there, and we're all grateful that Buick designers put together a boat tail Riviera so that you could be successful 40 years later. Anybody else want to mention?
As always, as you know her, I would always thank my wife. I love her to death. She helps me a lot. Irritated Jill. Hopefully she's not too irritated. Anyway, irritated Jill and Kyle and Cox and absolutely NLR. I mean, John Mavis does. I mean, there's a lot of great people, but John Mavis and NLR, they just do amazing stuff for everybody, and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without him.
Awesome. Man, congratulations. Great to have you on the show. Good to catch up, and hopefully we'll be talking again next week after that team show.
Thanks. I'm going to go drop everything and go to the bar.
All right. We'll see you later.
Sounds like a plan.
Thanks. Bye.
See ya.
Here comes Chris Lancaster. Congratulations to him. Oh, man.
We have had a lot of fun in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Hanging out, talking and drinking.
Absolutely. I mean, just the trip down memory lane that those conversations that start around the caddy engine, and then man, the stuff that happens away from the Derby, it's always a good time. Winter Slam, if you've never been, you got to go once, and make sure you stay at the Best Western or wherever the deal is for the hotel now.
Yeah, probably will be the Best Western. That was kind of rough last year.
But you get the idea. You want to stay in the same place as all the rest of the drivers and everything. It's always a good time. A couple quick housekeeping notes here. San Filippo off the schedule for 2020. It's unfortunate, but they rebounded the Corona crash at Bethel Speedway is going to be happening kind of in place of it. You're going to be able to have some fans there. I saw Jeremy Gully went live a couple times. Spinning Wheels has additional information available on it. That's going to be September the 20th. On that one, registration did open up this weekend for that. You have to pre-register.
Yeah, I think Jeremy said there's still some, bone stock. I don't know what that came or what they call it. But I think there's only a few spots left in there. But if you're interested, go check. Make sure. They're having a youth class, which is awesome. Jeremy went and did some testing Saturday night with the track during the show. And
did you see when he was live with the 4-minute video, the guy coming off the track and the guy coming on the track almost met? Mm-hmm. That was close. Yeah. Because I was texting him and I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm testing the track." And I'm like, "What?" And then I saw Facebook Live, and he had some battery issues, so the car wasn't running real good. But he's really excited. They're excited. It's good for them to get out and get another show. So everybody support that. Holy cow. 1,500 to win, economy compacts, 800, 500, and through the top three, 750 for Mad Dog in the feature. 5 heats of 15, taking 3 to the feature. Heat winners get a trophy and transfer to the main. Youth V8s, V8 bone stocks, bone stock compacts, economy compact trucks, SUVs, and vans. Also on the schedule, all those paying 700 to win. Again, that is the Corona. There's a bunch of different names on here. Corona Carnage on Smash 'Em Up Sunday at Bethel Motor Speedway, September the 20th, in conjunction with Spinning Wheels Productions. River City Rampage is coming up. That's waiting around the corner on September 25th and 26th.
Some big names going to be there.
That's going to be another good one. Nick King's going to be out there. I don't think he's going to have a car. I think he's going to be flagging.
I think he's working.
He's working that one. So we wish him the best on that front. It is overlapping a little bit with his intentions of running the Crash Course Video Game Nationals.
Well,
you got to set your priorities, I guess, right?
You know where I'll be that night.
Yeah. As long as you pay for your entries.
Can I start making payments?
Huh?
Payments,
no,
$1 a week?
I'm not doing that.
All right.
No. I'm not interested.
You got to remind me because I never carry cash on me.
Don't worry about it.
Unless I can swipe my ATM card through your cheeks or hands. Can you really?
Absolutely.
That is the baddest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
All right, I'll do it right now.
I've had that for a long time.
So let's do it.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me at the first weekend?
Because I wanted the cash. I don't want to have to front you the money to entry and then pay for the fees to take the money.
Whatever. If I was Josh Decker, you'd do it with a smile.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, text me next week.
You know what? All joking aside, I don't think I've ever had to cover an entry for him. I don't think I have. Have I? I don't know. I'll have to ask him. That'll be interesting. I don't know. Oh, well.
What do you think?
I'm trying to make sure that we covered everything.
Everything?
I got notes all over the place. We said Stacy Flynn won, right? At the end of the season. We got Hawarden, Burlington we got in. Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Good deal.
I don't have to save that file. That El Clasico is an interesting looking car. I threw some pictures up in the chat.
I have to go home and check that. I don't ever. Chris is the one that watches the chat here. I go home and look at the chat afterwards. So it's not that I don't say hi to everybody. I do, but it's just afterwards, and nobody gets back on after. So hi to anybody that may say hi to me. So
you could jump in, but you'd have to pull up YouTube on your phone,
and then it would probably
and you'd have to keep the phone muted so that, and then there would be a
lag,
a little bit of a lag on your phone.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Chris is better at that computer stuff than me, anyways.
It was quiet tonight. There wasn't a lot going on in there. Scott Brown was doing a training at work, and he had the show on in the background.
Sweet.
This is why you get in trouble at work.
I don't even worry about it.
I'm sure he's not worried about it either.
Oh,
all right.
Goodness.
I guess that covers it. Congratulations, all the winners this weekend. Breaking the droughts, man. Andy Wolfhanger, 3 years. Chris Lancaster, 2 years. Kyle Puttawitter picking up a win, and Mad Dog. Good all the way around, and there's a lot of good stuff coming. Bakken team show is coming up this weekend, so you get the chance to see Chris Lancaster teaming up with Rob Hewer. That's cool.
Awesome, that.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's going to be a good team. And then Carson driving the wagon. That'll be cool. So tune into that. That'll be on Derby Tees, I assume, because they did the one a couple months ago for Bakken.
Bakken Beatdown.
Yeah. Yep. So I guess we covered it. 322 in the books. Again, check out iTunes and everything, wherever you go for your MP3 downloads. If you've been missing the crash course, we've now updated everything retroactive to June when we came back to the studio. All that stuff is up there. So make sure you check that stuff out if you haven't seen it. If you have friends that stopped checking up on it because it wasn't there, let them know that it's back as well. That's going to do it for us. Make sure you jump on the Facebook page, like, follow, subscribe, and share. We appreciate all the support as always. That's going to do it for this one. 322 in the books. We'll see you next time. The Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah, online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the fingerlakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.